fun, celebrate life, the party we young. Sky is the limit, we looking above, we up in the sun. No matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, SWork, do your thing. SWork, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. SWork, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. SWork, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in their hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come.
SWorkshops are a series of online workshops featuring the many incredibly talented friends of SocialWorks. This series aims to inspire and educate, bringing local and national creatives live to your smartphone. They will be sharing and teaching specific aspects of their craft. A wide variety of professions, interests, and hobbies are represented within our curriculum. Did we mention it's a fundraiser too? The stay-at-home notice has students wondering what's to come. For some, graduation and prom will both be canceled. This campaign will directly fundraise a celebration event for those students within the Chicagoland area. Once it's safe, of course. Tune in to any of our socials for one or all of the SWorkshops. You can find the full schedule of programming at socialworksshy.org or on our Instagram. Classes start Monday, April 13th. We'll see you there.
I would like to dedicate that song to my aunt Sydney and everybody else who's on the forefront of the COVID-19. And I'd like to thank the doctors and nurses and all the medical and health workers who are helping out during this tumultuous time. And for everybody who has been going through it during this time. And that piece I just played was a version of Lift Every Voice, written by Robert Irving III, Bobby Irving. So thank you so much for allowing me to perform this piece that you made for me. And thank you to everybody who's helping each other during this time. And on a brighter note, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Joshua August Mhoon. I'm a 16-year-old pianist from Chicago, Illinois. And I'm a student at the Whitney M. Young Magnet High School in the West Loop of Chicago, and as well as I am a student at the Merit School of Music, tuition-free conservatory, also in the West Loop of Chicago. And I would like to thank, first of all, Justin Cuddington, Brian Casco, and Scott, who are on the production team to make sure that this video runs super smoothly with no bumps. So thank you to you guys for working with me so heavily and making sure that this all goes well. And a huge shout out to SocialWorks for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to come on your platform and speak and have a musical conversation with all of you guys viewing right now. So thank you, SocialWorks, and let's introduce this real quick. So this series, SWorkshops, if this is your first time tuning in, it is controlled and run by the SocialWorks Foundation, and it's meant to inspire and educate the people viewing to do something, and not necessarily do something, but to just be inspired. And SocialWorks is taking a huge stand for this, and I'd like to thank you guys for everything you guys have done for my community and the youths of Chicago. And this is a fundraising event for SocialWorks to hold a celebration gathering for the seniors and the rest of the teenagers and high schoolers in Chicago that have been missing out on the graduation and prom this year, unfortunately. But feel free to donate at the link right here, for the prom fund. All right, and also I'd like to mention that something super important that SocialWorks has been doing, and I'm a humongous fan of, which I think is super important, is the Supporting CPS program, which has raised literally millions of dollars to bring and inspire children in certain areas of Chicago, the underprivileged schools, and put in music and arts programs, which are super helpful. So that is the Chance Art Fund. You can also donate to that at socialworksshy.org. And I would like to say that the things I'm going to be talking with you guys about today, and who I'm talking with my guests about today, are going to be covering the topic of raising awareness in the African American community, but also the entire just country, and specifically the Chicagoland area, to bring arts and music programs back into the schools, as well as if you're already a performer or a musician or artist or a presenter of any type watching this right now, this is for you guys as well, because I'm going to be talking with some very special guests. And we're going to be talking with you guys and having some dialogues and conversations about how to make the best of your performance, how to get rid of nerves, and just the best ways to communicate through your art or through your speaking and through your playing with an audience. All right, so the first guest that I'd like to bring up to the live is a dear friend of mine, a fellow performer and a fellow Southsider. Could you guys please give a big round of applause to my friend, Ife Tayo Ali. What's up, Ife?
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining this live with me today. So you are a freshman in college and at the Colburn School in California, but you were grown up and raised in Chicago's South Side, South Shore neighborhood pretty much all your life, right?
Yes. Birth to well,
Right.
now I'm back in Chicago.
Yeah, well, yeah, for the COVID, but first I wanted to let the people get to know us a little bit. So me and you go back, maybe personally we've known each other for how many years? Like maybe 3 or 4?
It's
Is it that long?
definitely more than, I think it's probably almost 5 years at this point, because I met you the first time at
Okay.
the DePaul competition.
Oh yes. So we grew up on the classical music scene together in Chicago, and I played with her mother, Lucinda Ali Landing, like when I was a little kid, like when I first started piano at Christ Universal Temple for a Christmas event. And it's amazing to have you here today. You are an amazing person, an amazing cellist, and you are also happen to be African American like myself. And so I just want to bring up the topic of raising awareness for classical music in Chicago, and especially for the Black youths. And I know you have a lot of experience with this. So would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I have answered this question many times in my career already, but there's always more to be said. Raising awareness for classical music specifically is very important because classical music can do wonderful things. Even if you don't do classical music professionally, music in general is very important as just a thing to have in your life, just to always keep you well-rounded and grounded. So I was fortunate enough to always be raised with music in my family, all types of music, classical, rap, R&B, doesn't matter. And I think it's really made me the person I am today. I wouldn't be Ife Tayo without music. And yeah, it's
Well, I'd have to say the same for myself. If it wasn't for my mom, who had put me in piano lessons when I was 8, because she read somewhere that music helped in oral and reading and math skills, I would not have had as many opportunities or been able to live the life I've lived, or me and Ife Tai would not be able to be here with you guys today if it weren't for our moms, first of all, and classical music, you know?
exactly. Yeah,
So,
I'm so thankful to my mother for that. So
of course, moms are the best.
period.
And what's something special that your mom does is I would like you to explain it a little bit because it's super important to the South Side, not only the South Side community, but the rest of Chicago. And you want to talk about her school?
Yes, I do. So my mother, Lucinda Ollie Landing, she is a violinist, mother of more than 3, but I'll say 3 for right now. She's a mother of 3. We all play instruments. She homeschooled us from birth, all while running a music school called the Hyde Park Suzuki Institute. It is in Hyde Park right now, or well, it's online right now, but it was in Hyde Park
Yeah.
before COVID. So we have at the music school all string instruments except for bass. We don't have bass, but she, being a Black woman, obviously attracts people like her. So we have a lot of students of color, which is fantastic because you don't see that a lot. And I was fortunate enough to be raised around that because I was raised in the music school. I spent almost every single day in the music school, just running around the hallways, taking lessons, classes. I sat in her private lessons while she was teaching. I think she's been a teacher now, or the music school has been around for 20 years. She's been teaching for a lot longer than that. I'm not gonna say the exact the exact number. I'll leave her say that herself.
Of course.
But yeah, she's
And
amazing.
by the way, for the people that are streaming through all platforms, if you're streaming through a social media platform, you can actually ask questions in the comments and I will receive them and we can answer some questions. So if you have any questions for me or Ife, feel free to ask. And if you're watching through YouTube or another platform where you can't comment, you can go to slido.com and you can find the social works and you can ask us some questions. And Ife will also be joining us today later to talk with another guest that I have coming on. But besides that, Ife, I just wanted to talk with you and I want the people to know how amazing your life has been so far because of music. Like, what type of stuff have you done?
Well, I'm gonna just start from the very beginning. I've met some fantastic people. Some of my best friends I met through music. I would go to a music festival every single summer. And if you don't know what a music festival is, it's where a bunch of kids come from all over the world, every country, everywhere. and they all stay in like a dorm for like either anywhere from like a week to 8
Or a
weeks.
cabin.
Or a cabin. Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that, but a dorm cabin from anywhere from a week to 8 weeks. And you practice and you perform and you meet some amazing teachers and faculty. And I've had the chance to do that pretty much every single summer, which has been fantastic. This will be one of the first summers I'm not going anywhere. So that's new.
Yeah.
But I would not have been able to do that without music. I mean, I might have gone somewhere, but the opportunities I've gotten through music, like I won the Sings competition about 3 years ago. And I've gone to travel to places I never would have gone just by myself without the opportunity to perform with the orchestras there. So I performed, I've met amazing people. I just recently, not to brag, but I performed for Solange in New York a couple of months ago because of the cello. So I met her mother.
Oh, the queen bee of the queen of the queen bee.
Yes. I'm not going to quote Beyonce right now, but you all know the song I'm talking about.
All right. And something else I wanted to also talk with you about is growing up. I know you were kind of thrown into music. You're like really young, and I obviously I wasn't given the chance to do it at really early age. But do you think music has helped you sort of activate parts of your brain, or like, I'm not gonna say made you smarter, but do you think you've gained a sense of knowledge that could not have been attained without music?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to go as far as to say it's made me smarter because some people know this. I love math. I don't know why. It just is a thing. I just have always liked it. And I think that's because of music, because when you think about it, note values and all of that, that's just math. So I think
100%.
me playing music it's made my life better as a whole, but it's definitely made me smarter. And not even playing music, but listening to music has made me more rounded as a person, just better.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I know that for a fact, everybody on this live has also been an alum, or is currently, or has went off to do other things, but has been at one time a student at Whitney Young Magnet High School. Now, Ife, were you or were you not a student at Whitney Young for some point in time?
Yes, I was. I think I went to high school early. I went when I was 13, turned 12, turning 13, and I went for 2 months. Now this was it was just a bad time in my life to try to go to high school early, because as a cellist, I have to practice a lot. And that was the year I really needed to practice a lot because I was competing. So I didn't have enough time to practice, and I joined the prom team and the flag football. I joined too many things. It was just too much.
All right. Well, I just wanted to mention that because all the other guests are also fellow Southsiders and Black creatives, as well as Whitney Young alums, which I think is pretty impressive that we are all able to come here together to talk with you guys today. And it looks like we do have a question. I'm not sure who it is from. Let me see. It says, "What is your favorite way to play music?" I guess I might interpret that as what genre of music do you enjoy playing the most? So Ife, you want to answer this one first?
I will. This is probably not the answer they were hoping for, but I listen to, I'm going to say, almost every genre of music you can think of right now. So, and if I like the song, I'm gonna play it. It doesn't matter if it's a rap, I'm just gonna play those rhythms. It can be, I don't know, some throat singing. I don't know. I will play it. So I will play anything.
Oh yeah. And also, before I mention what my favorite genre is to play, I just want to say that I believe without the classical training that we both received, I don't know if we'd be able to play all these genres as well as we can without the training we've received from an early age, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that definitely helped.
Oh yeah, and I think my favorite genre to play is definitely classical, but as you guys will see a little later today when I bring on another guest of mine, I enjoy mashing up hip hop songs with classical music songs because it's like sort of the most ridiculous combo you could imagine, but it's really not, because all music is really like connected and intertwined in some way. Any genre you look at, it'll date back from the first being classical, Bach harmonies and things like that, where the rhythm was and harmonies and notes were developed and perfected, I will say, and it all transfers. So I think my favorite thing to do is to perform these mashups for people that would not be expecting them. And yeah, you guys will see that a little later today. All right, so thank you for that question. And Ife, is there anything you would like to say to Social Works, or are you looking forward to, will you be attending the prom that they're gonna throw?
Well, I just learned about that recently, but I will be there. I will put on my
Awesome.
best gown.
Of course.
And thank you to Social Works for doing this, because this is fantastic. I wish I would have known about the entire thing way earlier in my life, because
Yeah.
it would have been amazing. But thank you to Social Works for this. Good.
Yeah, this
Love
is
you.
all new because of all the COVID-19 things. So I just want to thank Ife for coming on for this quick thing. If you guys have any questions for her, she's going to be on in another like 10 to 15 minutes. So you guys can just ask her questions, ask me questions, and just be prepared to have our other guests on. So thank you, Ife, for stopping by. I will see you soon. And
Thank you.
now I'm going to play a piece for you guys. And this piece is written by Rachmaninoff. It is his Etude Tableau, Opus 39, and Etude Tableau translates to a picture study. And he wrote these pieces to be interpreted by the audience as visual stimuli, or like so I'm gonna play them the way I hear them and how I want them to sound, but I want you guys who are at home enjoying this live to sort of figure out what type of pictures you can think of that the pictures that this piece evokes from you, or the emotions that you're feeling. So feel free to comment them, and if I have some, I will display them afterwards, after the pieces are done. So this is Rachmaninoff Etude Tableau, Opus 39, number 5, and then I'm going to play another one after this, which I'll introduce again. All right, so that was the Etude Tableau number 5 by Rachmaninoff, the Appassionata Etude Tableau. And the next one I'm going to play is the next one in the series, and this is number 6, also called Little Red Riding Hood. I'm sure you guys will understand after you hear it why it's nicknamed that. All right, thank you guys very much. Now I would like to kick it to another special guest I've heard. Oh wait, actually, let's see if we have any questions. So Niraj Davis said, "Thank you for your vision." I think that was while me and Ife were talking. So thank you very much, Niraj. And now I would like to bring on a super fantastic, super wonderful Southsider, Whitney Young alum, and now a Grammy Award nominated or winning. She'll tell me in a second. But a winning performance expert and artist developer. Could you guys please give a big round of applause to my girl Kiana Henson, also known as KJ Rose.
Woo!
Hey KJ.
Woo! What's
You know what?
up?
You know what? I want before we talk.
Okay.
You want to perform something real quick?
Okay. Let's
All right, I'm gonna give you a little intro.
Okay. Come on, play that, Biggie.
I know you got it.
Hater, turn your head round. Wake up, wake up. Oh, yeah. Yes.
All right, KJ, that was awesome.
That was
yes, sir.
That was great. Like that was my
you.
second like professional credit as a singer was on Big's album, Life After Death, Play a Hater. So
you went through that a little quick. You said Big. I don't know if everybody understands what that piece just was.
Let me start over. The Notorious B.I.G. from Brooklyn.
Yes, sir. Biggie Smalls.
Brooklyn, I got a call to come and sing with him. A call from D-Dot, Derek Angeletti. And I was working my 9 to 5 at Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. Walked over there with my little briefcase and my heels, and I sang. And that was my first credit was Heavy D on a song called Big Daddy. And
Big
then
Daddy.
Big was the next great, just kind of like, I would say, defining moment in my career. So that was great for you to bring that back in a classical way.
Oh, no problem. I really appreciate you coming to join me today.
Of course.
And I just want to take a second to say that KJ has worked with so many legendary artists. And currently, I would say, could you want to introduce your friend, not only your friend, but your mentee who you helped prepare for the Grammys recently?
Yeah.
Who's one of the biggest stars in the world right now.
Yeah. So hello, everybody. And you did get it right, Joshua. Grammy
Award-winning
artist development and performance expert. And one of my clients today is Lil Nas X. And I had the opportunity and honor of preparing him to own the stage every time he walked onto one, and to just really create a toolkit for performing, and I think that is what everybody needs. Like, you always need an arsenal in which to pull from. Every performance is different. All the inspiration that you get in every building on every stage is different. And so really being able to occupy all of your space as an artist and understand what your force is the work that we did together. So it was just to see him from, number one, from obscurity to notoriety in such, a meteoric way. And then to see him every time he got on stage to dominate it. I was just really grateful to be a part of that team.
Oh yeah, 100%. And also, for this conversation, before we get into your expertise, which is performing,
Yeah.
I want to also bring back the cellist Ife Tao Ali, so that she
Yes.
can also hear some of the wisdom you want to bestow on us and all the people watching right now.
Yes, and let me just tell you that you are phenomenal. I've
Thank
been
you so
watching
much,
you
KJ.
play for years, and just to see how you have evolved and how you have honed your craft, and it's all about, you know, the hours you put into it, the work you've put into it. It's not magic. Like, you got to this place because of your diligence and your repetition. So just pat yourself on the back. You deserve that.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I wish we would be able to hear Ife Tao Ali perform. But you can find her videos where, Ife Tao, on YouTube and everything. Where can you find Ife Tao's things?
I'm gonna search for her because I already know that it's amazing.
Okay, can you guys hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, now we can hear you, Ife.
Let's see if I can make
So
you
where
see
can
me.
people? Okay, where can people hear your stuff
Well,
and find out more about you?
there we go. Here we go. Well, I'm on YouTube. I'm all over YouTube. If you just search it up, my name, Ife Tayo, IFETAYO,
Mhm.
last name ALI dash landing, like the plane is landing. I'm also on Instagram, IFET.XYO. Yeah, those are my two main things. I'm on Facebook sometimes. That's mainly for my family, though, just so they can say they saw me.
Yeah. All right. So, quick thing. Wait, I'm seeing that somebody can't hear me. Can you Ife Tayo, and can
I
you
can hear you.
I can
KJ
hear
hear me?
you. Mhm.
All right. All right. So, first, I want to also introduce KJ Rose as a Whitney Young alum as well, and a Chicago Southsider, 82nd and Damon, born and raised.
Yeah.
And
And then I
I
did go
just
to
want to.
Flossmoor. I went to Flossmoor,
Okay.
Illinois. Shout out to HF and Flossmoor as well. They both really, you know, helped me to get here. So can't leave
Yeah.
them out.
And I wanted you to talk with us today. First, I want to hear about your roots in Chicago, because we all
Okay.
have roots in Chicago.
Yep.
So how did you grow up, and how did you get into this music?
You know, it's so interesting because a lot of people ask, like, did my parents sing, or did I come from a musical family? And I did not. I just had a love for music. But back then, for me, I said back then, let me not date myself. I was like 10. It was the Anita Baker and Stephanie Mills and Janet Jackson and Phyllis Hyman and Regina Bell. Those were the voices I was drawn to. And it seemed so far away because in Chicago, we're not bombarded with the images of artists that you see making it to Hollywood or making it to New York all the time. You really have to search those out. And so I knew I had a love for music, but I also had stage fright. And so my first, I would say, like the seed being planted to kind of help me grow outside of that was singing for the Soul Children of Chicago with Walter Whitman. And so it was like, if he even looked at me longer than 2 seconds, I was like, oh my God, he wants me to do a solo. So it was just like, that was where I started to just understand that I had the love for this thing, but I also my body had an adverse reaction to what was happening. From there, I was a part of the choir at Trinity United Church of Christ with Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Dr. Reverend Jeremiah Wright. And I remember, like, the biggest argument I ever got into with my mom was me singing a solo and looking disinterested. But the only reason I was looking that way was because I was so scared. And that was like my defensive mechanism. But from there, I went to Florida A&M in Tallahassee, Florida, FAMU, and I would sing a little bit more. And it wasn't until I met a music executive by the name of Big John Platt, who was good friends with my line sister, DST. And they were like, my friends were like, you should sing for him. He came down to her graduation. They were like, you should sing for him. I was like, I'm not a clown. That was really just me being scared. And I eventually sang, and he put me with my first managers in New York, because I was moving to New York to work. And, you know, as I was talking earlier, I started singing for all the rappers. I started singing all the hooks. So it was like AZ, A+, Dead Prez, Common, Mace, big and have. And then my first tour was with Diddy. So I went out with Puff. From Puff, I went to Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake as a background singer. And then when I got to a point where I said, now I'm hiding, like the learning curve has diminished and now I'm still hiding. And so I stepped out, went to work for Clive Davis for about a year and a half, just kind of soaked up all that information that I could while there. And then working on my own album at the same time. So from Clive, I went back on the road with Janet, and then, that was my touring history. And so now I do artist development. I really felt like I was called to use all of that knowledge and pour into other artists. And so that has been my assignment the last couple of years.
Awesome. And before we go any further with you, Ife Tayo, can you tell us how your roots in Chicago and how you got into music? You talked about it a little bit before, but just a quick thing.
Yeah, so my mother, born and raised in Chicago, so I was also born and raised in Chicago. My mother's a violinist. It was mandatory that everyone in my family plays an instrument, so both my sisters play as well. That's kind of like our math. Music is our math. You got to do it. You don't got a choice. Yeah. So I, of course, grew up playing. She said you can quit when you turn 18 and leave my house, but I didn't quit. I went to college for it and for free. So there's that.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Congratulations on that. And KJ, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your influences in music, your musical influences growing up in Chicago, because Chicago has always had a really bussin' music scene.
Yeah.
And what were the artists that really turned you into what you wanted to be?
I would say like artists and producers. As I said, hearing Anita Baker's voice gave me permission to use mine in a sense, because I knew I had a lower register. I knew that, I was not a soprano by any means. And so I think hearing those low tones, those rich tones by Phyllis Hyman and Anita Baker and Regina Bell. But then, moving into, as a performer myself and as an artist, it was No ID from Chicago that really grabbed me up and said, okay, I want to put you in the studio. Then it was Vern, AKA Extreme, and then Andy C. So all of those producers from Chicago, and my brother Jax, I can't forget him. So I had, besides the musical influences, I also had a lot of producers that were from Chicago that also really poured into me. As well as soon as Heavy D came out, like all of the radio stations really embraced me. 107.5 GCI and Power 102.7. So it was just, is it Power 102? Power 105. Is that it? Power 105. Like, don't tell them that I did that. So yeah, that gave me, I would say the elevation that I needed to now explore even more once I got to New York. And so it gave me the courage, because you need courage in New York City to really embark on a music career. And so it's what I realized very early on is that everybody can sing. Everybody believes they have a talent. And so after you figure out what your talent is, then you got to figure out what else you got, because sometimes talent is not what opens the door. And for me, it was my persistence. None of the jobs I've gotten have been because somebody said, come on over here, KJ, you have so much talent. It's because normally they're saying, how do we get her to stop calling? So persistence and tenacity became my great friends.
Oh yeah. And before we cut out real quick, I just wanted to find out what advice you would give me and Ife and any of the other performers who could potentially be in and watching this live right now. What are your suggestions for us?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say that performance is really the art of being than anything else. It is being explicitly truthful and honest with every moment that you walk onto any stage. And just to be clear, the stage is wherever you occupy space. So the stage is in the boardroom. The stage is, if you sing on the bus, the stage is in the hospital as a nurse, whatever it is that you do, that is your stage, wherever you occupy the space. And then I would say discover and identify what your force is. What is that thing that you need no one's permission to do? What makes you come alive? Understand that. Then I would say connect. You've got to connect to the body of work that you are trying to project to us, right? Connecting by pre-approving yourself before you try to project or get the approval of an audience. It's connecting to those lyrics. I would say write down every piece of music, write down every lyric, write down every piece of a monologue, a poem, and then go through each line and assign the power where it's needed, assign the emotion, right? Because nobody wants to feel like you're throwing any of your gifts at them. They want to feel included. Right. And then finally, I would say it's got to be personal. You've got to tell your story in such a vulnerable way that it makes us relate to our own. Right. You've got to do the work necessary, the internal narrative. You have to do that work so that your external expression is believable, that we receive it. And then after all of that, you've got to rehearse. You've got to be able to recall a successful time in which you've done it so that you can pull and that be a reference point for you. So identify your force, and that force will lead you every time you walk on the stage to have an honest conversation with your audience.
100%. And I believe that 100% everything you're saying is just clicking with me, and I'm sure it's clicking with Ife as well. And you just
take that
came
and
out with
run
some
with it.
oh yeah, 100%. And you, KJ, just came out with an amazing project that you've been working on for years now, I believe, right?
For like 2 years.
Can you tell people about your book, The Rose Effect?
Yes, I wrote a book called The Rose Effect, 8 Steps to Delivering the Performance of Your Life. It took me 2 years because it took that long for me to believe that I was to be the messenger for this. Not that the writing took it, just me qualifying myself, knowing that my stories counted and they could be a blessing to somebody else. And so once I realized that I've already been qualified, God has already qualified me, I sat down and I just started. I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed by process. We know where we want to go, but the steps to get there may just scare us, right? And the desire to be perfect in it will cause you to be debilitated, right? Because you try to get to this place of perfection that doesn't exist. What I say is whatever you want to do today, start it. And before you know it, you will have finished it. And so this is a book of anecdotal stories of how I've navigated corporate America and the music industry, the lessons I gained from this. And then there's some actionable parts for the reader to take part in so that when they finish this, they have a very healthy understanding of what they offer, who they are, what their point of view is, why they care before they try to make us care as an audience. And just so that the external expression, whatever that may be, whatever discipline you're in, as long as it's truthful and it's honest, that's when people will receive you. So it's available 100%. On Amazon right now. It's called The Rose Effect, 8 Steps to Delivering the Performance of Your Life. The foreword is by Dion, No ID Wilson, and also Cynthia Johnson, both Chicago, and Cynthia, executive at Columbia Records. Dion is executive producer, all things. So just, I'm grateful to have them be a part. And then I have a quote here from Lil Nas X that says, when you're working with KJ, her energy just bounces off of her and goes straight to you. She's the best. She also helped me get some confidence to go out and do a 2-step in Old Town Road. So I'm grateful to have been a part of his journey, and grateful to you as well for this.
And thank you so much. I'd like to thank Ife Tayo, Ali, and KJ Rose one last time for them being on the show. You can follow them. You can follow KJ at the KJ Rose Effect on IG. And you can follow Ife Tayo at ifet.xyo on Instagram to check out what they're doing. And I'm sure they're going to be having some great content coming out while we're all in this shelter in place. So thank you guys so much. And I just wanted to,
nice
thank
to
you so much, guys.
And hi, friend. Smart. Nice to meet you too.
All right, bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
All right, so it was great having them on, and I would like to transition this a little bit, and I would like to change up the pace. Instead, this is Opus 36. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? So I'd like to change up the pace a little bit and start with another piece by Rachmaninoff. This is another Etude Tableau, written in 1911. And this is a fantastic piece. I hope you guys enjoy, and try to think of what picture or visual this evokes for me. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to that. I hope you guys enjoyed that piece, that short piece. I'd like to say that reminds me a little bit of like a Bell fanfare. And for my next and final guest, who you guys can see on the screen right now, this is Michael Bearden. Now, Michael is a mentor of mine who has been a friend of my mom's, a South Sider of Chicago, another Whitney Young alum, and an amazing musical director who has worked with the likes of Madonna, who has been the musical director for the likes of Madonna. He was Michael Jackson's last musical director, and now he is working heavily with Lady Gaga as her music director, as well as being on the Lopez show. And I think before I was born or in the early 2000s. And this man has been doing the most he could possibly do with his life so far. He's an amazing musician, an amazing friend. And I would just like to introduce you guys to Michael Bearden. What's up, MB?
Hey, Josh. Good to see you, man. I'm so proud of you. This is so great, man.
Oh, no problem. And I wanted to mention this man, you guys should listen to whatever expertise he brings today, because he was last year, he was nominated for an Emmy with Lady Gaga for the Pepsi halftime show. And if anybody saw that, I think a lot of people could agree that that was one of the best Super Bowl performances of all time. Yeah, so congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much. It was the most highly rated, actually. Like over 300 million people saw that. So
yeah, I think it was the most viewed event, an aired event ever.
Yes,
if I'm correct.
Yes.
And you're behind the music of that, and as a musical director, you are in charge, and you have a direct link with the performer. You're in their ear during the entire performance. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you about your roots from Chicago. Where did you grow up? You know, how did you get into music? Who are your influences?
Well, I'm from the South Side of Chicago too, born and raised. Went to Whitney Young, and you know, Chicago, as you know, is just a hotbed of just this really great mix of Southern roots, but also it's Midwest, it's cosmopolitan. So you have a really nice combination of just like Southern hospitality, you know, with this whole, new kind of vibe. So with the blues and the jazz and the gospel and everything that, even house music, which comes from Chicago, everything was there when I was coming up. I remember when all that started, when house music started, at the Warehouse with Frankie Knuckles, Jesse Saunders, all these DJs that I know. And so I was just coming up in that, and this was the era when you actually had to learn how to play. There was no, you had like there were no beat machines, there were no, digital audio workstations and all that kind of thing. So you had, the weather in Chicago, especially in the wintertime, is so cold. Like you got to stay in the house and practice anyway. So everybody's in the house working. So that was, that was my kind of upbringing, is just dealing with all that, just whole mix of just living in Chicago with the food and just the whole art, everything that happens in Chicago. And some of my heaviest earlier influence were like musicians from Chicago. So we have Ramsey Lewis, who's the famous jazz pianist. Herbert Hancock, of course. Quincy Jones is a mentor. So that was my upbringing, Chicago.
Oh yeah. And that's an amazing way to live. You definitely grew up playing an instrument, because as a lot of other young Black kids back then, a lot of people played instruments. For nowadays, it's a little different. But you would agree that we should sort of get back to that standard of having music in the schools and having kids not only aspire to be great rappers and great poets, but also to become great musicians. And that needs to be instilled at an early age.
The fact that we're even talking about it as not a regular event in schools is amazing to me, because that's just how we grew up. And I play piano, and then I also play drums, so that actually helped me out a lot too. When I went to college, I was in the band. I was in the band in Chicago at really young. But I can't imagine a time where we weren't going to music class or going to band practice. I remember as a kid signing up for the Young People's Program for the Chicago Symphony. So I saw Sir George Solti conduct when I was very young, who actually influenced me to be a conductor, which is what I also do. And so to have the Chicago Symphony and to have that, I went to his American Conservatory of Music, which is right downtown, which is right there too. I just can't imagine not having music in schools now. So where it is, because there are a lot of kids like me and you. We play sports and we like it, but that was not going to be my forte. I knew I wasn't going to go on to be in the NBA or Major League Baseball or anything like that. So music is my expression. I was really quiet and shy as a kid. So the piano helped, and music helped bring that out. So there needs to be other options for kids, especially young Black kids, to be able to express themselves. And so not everybody's going to be an athlete, not everybody. And even if you don't want to do it for a living, as I do, it still does so much for you. Spatial reasoning, math, I heard one of the other guests say, and all of that kind of thing. So just to even learn a discipline and to have it is so vital and so necessary. So whatever we can do to bring actual organic, real instruments back. I'm not saying that drum machines are not, but I'm just saying, that acoustic piano that you're sitting next to. So actually learn to physically breathe into something, your soul into an instrument. We need to have that back for sure.
100%. And you guys can also check out what SocialWorks is doing for that through the Support CPS program, which has the initiative of the Chance Arts Fund. And you guys can donate to that through their website. And that provides certain schools and underprivileged communities with music lessons and bringing the music programs back to the schools. Amazing. And Michael,
yes, sir.
So you've worked with over 470 artists in your entire career. And
yes.
Through that work that you've done, and you're probably a master because you definitely spend more than 10,000 hours on this type of stuff. I want to know what you personally have to tell or bestow upon the viewers right now about how to become a great artist, and to me as well, a great artist and a great performer.
Well, I really liked a lot of what AJ said, and actually, I feel like I should know her. KJ, I'm sorry, I meant to say KJ. I feel like I should know her. She around all the circles that I was around. I know Big John Platt very well. I was a trustee in the Grammys. He's now the head of EMI. And so a lot of what she was saying was really dead on. And so I would echo a lot of that. But also, my thing is just to stay in your truth about what it is. So, you will be scared, but you still have to do it. So, you might as well do it scared. And the thing about me is just like, whenever I'm on stage or whenever I'm with my artists, I just want them to be vulnerable. I want them to surrender to the now of what's happening. And I want them to live their truth, to be honest about what they're feeling and give that to the audience. And the reciprocity that you get back from the audience, from what they receive, will feed you more. I remember being on stage in Brazil with Madonna when I was with her early. I was with her for 9 years, almost 10 years. And we were at the soccer stadium, the Bacanal in Rio. 200,000 people were at this show. And just amazing. Like if you just jump up and do this or whatever, and they do it, the energy that was coming back was just extraordinary. We were all tired because it was a long tour, but you can't help but give back when you receive that. So that's what I always like to tell my artists, is just to give, no matter how tired you are, how are you feeling, if it was a bad, crappy day, whatever it was, the audience is there to escape all of their bad days. So we are the vessels that help to move the souls. And that is the purpose of what we do with music. So that's what I always say.
And it's super important that we're doing this right now. And I think it's super important. And I'm very glad that we were able to have this dialogue. And I hope that everybody was able to take something away from a legendary musical director, and KJ Rose, a fantastic Grammy Award-winning performance expert, and my friend Ife Tayo Ali, who is an amazing aspiring or not even aspiring, but already a very renowned classical cellist. So thank you, Michael Bearden, for joining.
Yes.
You guys can follow him at Michael Bearden, and you guys can check out his website. And I just want to close this program out real quick. We ran a little bit over, but I would like to close the program out with one more special piece that's very dear to my heart. And this is a jazz style piece by a modern classical composer named Nikolai Kapustin. And this is a really funky piece. So I hope you guys enjoyed this entire live. And I just want to end this off with this piece, and which is very joyful and energetic. So enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. One last time, I would like to thank Justin Cuddington, Brian Casco, Scott on the production. I'd also like to thank Devin Shaw, Gian Foreman, the Lung Lung Foundation, and everybody that has tuned in. I want to thank my guests KJ Rose, Ife Tayo Ali, and Michael Bearden. Make sure to donate to the prom fundraiser at this link, and make sure to go to the SocialWorks website and look at all the wonderful initiatives that they're doing. This is Joshua Mhoon. You guys can follow me at my name on Instagram, on Facebook, and have a great night. Everybody, please stay safe. thank your health workers. Be grateful for your own your own health, and make sure to stay in the house. And we can all get through this as a collective. So thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. Have a great night.
With you and your crew, cause everybody going in. As work, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel how we live through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. And S works what we do.
Social works, social works, social works, social, social works, social works, social works. Social works, keep my family out the dirt. This organization we stopping no Satan and open, but we call it SWorks. Action no Taylor the killer verse. I do on my family, my city hurt. They killing our babies, this war going crazy. I pray for my city to reimburse. Running schools for the kiddies, with the city and we litty. All I know is it's work, with the heart keep it busy. Know the life keep it tricky, but please just let me finish. Let me just be a witness. SWorks handle business.
Social works, social works, social works, social, social works, social works, social works.
Ready or not, here we come. South side, west side, east side, north side. Up on the run, we ain't for the none. We came in the party, we here for the fun. Celebrate life, the party we young. Sky's the limit, we looking above. We up in the sun, no matter what, we stay on the run. Ha, SWork, do your thing. SWork, keep it lit. Bullseye, keep your aim. Yeah, we up on the jib. North side, that's the way. Ready or not, here we come. SWork, keep the energy. Look, yeah, we never unplug. SWork, show some love. Yeah.
Social works, social works, social works, social, social works, social works, social works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works, S